promise not to freak out.
Oh my goodness, I got a haircut, and we're changing locations. Let's have some fun.
Vernon Street Square, big old civic center.
They used to sell pizza there.
And that's just a lamppost.
On today's episode, you can expect to learn moves represented by the red and black attack, which, by the way, in this same location does stuff like this. Let's make it happen, guys.
First thing I'm gonna go over is a simple spin, chop, punch combination. But of course, we gotta break this down so we'll become more efficient with our style. So let's go over the stances first. I'm gonna start in my hard bow. Now, in traditional martial arts, we like to pivot on our heels in order to make sure that we have extra reach. In demo team, the transition's gotta be fast.
Start in a hard bow facing whichever direction you like. Look over the shoulder of your straight leg without changing your stance. Pivot towards the direction that you look, and then therefore switch stances. Remember, it's okay to pivot on the balls of your feet at this point in time as long as your heels stay close to the ground.
People that don't know me are walking by thinking I'm crazy, and that's exactly why I love this so much.
He really is crazy.
Now, without our feet, we're just gonna focus on the chop punch. So I'm gonna pick whatever hand I want. I'm gonna chop towards that direction. My opposite hand is gonna chamber high. Now I'm gonna switch. This hand is gonna pull into a chamber as I shift and punch that direction. Notice how I'm going towards the corners. This is the hard part. My chambered hand is gonna do the punch next. So the punching hand chops out, and then I switch. The same hand actually goes from the chop to the punch 2 times in a row.
Now add the stances.
I'm gonna start out in a hard bow, facing whichever corner I want. And notice how everything on this side is gonna be bent. That's my chambered hand and my bent leg. Everything on this side is gonna be extended out. As I shift my hips, I'm gonna pull this hand in, and we'll punch that direction. Now from here, my stance stays the same, but I chop out, and shift and punch. Chop out, shift and punch. Chop out, shift and punch. Rinse, repeat until I'm forward.
On your chop, make sure you keep your fingers together, and your chamber hand is as close to the armpit as you possibly can. As you throw your punch, you shift in the direction in which the punch is going.
Sweet, they didn't kick me out this time.
Probably because I'm not skateboarding this time.
We're gonna change locations to go over a spin chop punch. But first, a word from our awkward sponsor.
Free karate? Anybody? Hello? I guess no one's here. Need to change my approach.
Whoa, can't skate down that. Spin chop punch comes next. It's got a little bit of fancy footwork, but I think you're gonna get this down really easy. So here's how it works. Typically speaking, I'm gonna be spinning over my left shoulder, which means my right hand does the initial chop. So all I want us to practice first is doing a chop with my palm up. As that comes across, my other hand comes underneath, chop with the left hand, then I do that same punch that I did earlier. Let's try that again. My right hand chops, palm up. As that right hand goes across to my left shoulder, my left hand goes under my right armpit and chops palm down. As that happens, the previous chopping hand turns into a chamber hand with a closed fist. Switch hands and do a punch just like you did in the last section.
Uh-oh, he's losing control again. Oh, goodness, I'm such a liability.
Now let's add the footwork. This looks kind of dancier, a little bit like ballet, but trust me, there's a martial element involved. I'm gonna take my right foot at the same side as that initial chopping hand. I'm gonna step forward past my center line. From there, my back foot goes along a straight line, turn over. Now you notice I'm in a hard bow. It's pretty simple once you get the balance down.
Step with your back leg forward across center line. Spin over the back shoulder like you're doing a spin side kick. Your back foot goes on a straight railroad track motion towards the desired punching area. From there, your feet are in place, shift into a hard bow, and you've landed a nice fancy spin chop punch.
Do you guys think geese like karate too?
Hey, you guys like karate? You know, punch and kick? Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee? Ugh. Now we're gonna add them together. In order to make a sweet combo, I start with the desired chopping hand. That same hand comes out as that same foot extends. I pull into the punch. I reverse it, I go the other way. After I look over my shoulder, I chop, and then I shift and punch. Now the hand that is not punching is gonna come up and prep behind my ear as I step towards you. I step past center line, spin, chop, shift into the punch. This is the demo team essential basic. Give it some reps. You'll notice a familiar concept in this combination. Expansion and contraction. Expansion and contraction. It's very important to remember. This is so dangerous. It's such a bad idea. The intention of Demo Team Combos is not to provide any combative value, but to provide content that looks pretty and is visually appealing. That's why the red and black attack does all that fancy flippy mumbo jumbo.
How tranquil.
God. Oh. Hey. Oof.
We're going to replace the chops with an upward block. The combo's going to remain the same. So instead of doing a chop, I'm going to do an upward block. Punch. Upward block. Punch. Spin. Upward block. Punch. That's kind of the idea. Let's have some fun.
Take your first chopping hand and turn it into an upward block. Make sure it's at a good angle so it looks all purdy-purdy. After you do your first punch, that same hand turns into an upward block on the other side. Make sure it still looks purdy-purdy. Hashtag purdy-purdy. I'm gonna do the first chop on the spin to add a little differentiation between the strikes, but then as I spin around my shoulder, the second chop turns into an upward block yet again. Purdy-purdy. Pro life tip. It's not very efficient skateboarding on grass.
Instead of doing an upward block, I'm going to do an outward block now. So that's scooping away from the center line of my body. Same rules apply.
Make sure your outward block extends outward from the center line of your face. This allows the block to look good, be practical, and you can actually see where you're going. What a concept. Same footwork, chamber hand, and other stuff applies that we went over earlier.
And we're on the move again.
How can you even skate up on that?
Yo, guys, check out this spot.
Oh, how quaint.
Private property.
Such majesty. Oh my heck. Very wow.
Now with this artsy crafty skewed angle, we're going to do a downward block instead of an upward block or an outward block.
Fold your blocking hand to the opposite shoulder before you throw that block. Shift your hips into the punch. Rinse, repeat the same rules we talked about earlier. Try to keep your balance on that spin, chop, punch. Have you forgotten about your chamber hands?
I hope not.
Have you forgotten about keeping your fingers together?
I most certainly hope not.
Now it's time for the final round.
Engage final round montage mode.
Point black. Do.
At least we're back home now to put this combination together.
Now I'm gonna switch between chops, upward blocks, outward blocks, and downward blocks between my punches. But here's the rule. You can't do the same block twice.
That means chop, punch is out of the equation. Upward block, punch is out of the equation. It must alternate, so I could do chop, punch, upward block, punch if I would like to, as long as I don't follow that upward block punch with another spin upward block punch. Get it?
Got it. Let's go.
Chop, punch, upward block punch, spin, downward block punch. I'm trying, I promise. How about chop, punch, outward block punch, spin, upward block punch. Upward block punch, downward block punch, spin, chop, punch. Chop, punch, outward block punch, spin, upward block punch. Chop, punch, upward block punch, spin, downward block punch.
Are you having fun yet?
Remember guys, this truly is just the tip of the iceberg. Demo Team Combos can get crazy, technical, and out of whack, so make sure that you study your basics. And don't forget to reach out to your school if you're interested in continuing your Demo Team training. Have a good day, guys.